when you're ready to begin. Perfect.
So let's go ahead and begin the meeting. Do we need to do a roll call to establish quorum?
Yes, I will go ahead and take care of that. I'll go ahead and start with Commissioner O'Reilly.
Present.
Commissioner Buckholz.
Present.
Commissioner Nagao.
Present.
And Vice Chair Lee.
Present.
And we do note that currently absent are Commissioner Dixit. We also have Commissioner Basiji, who is absent, and also Chair Cohen, who is currently absent as well. But we do have a quorum of commissioners to continue.
Very good. And next on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, give us just one moment. All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
Of the
of America,
United States of America and
And
to
to
the
the
republic
for which it stands,
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
God,
Indivisible.
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty
and justice
and
For all.
Yay, done. All right. Next up is public comment.
All right, and Vice Chair Lee, at this moment, we do not currently have any members of the public present for our meeting. We will definitely be sure to share if that changes, but with that, there are no current requests to speak on items not on the agenda.
Very good. All right, then let's see. Number one on the agenda is minutes. Has everyone reviewed the minutes? Are there any comments on the minutes?
I move to accept the minutes as written.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes approved. All right. Next was Los Altos Hills Community Facilities Needs Assessment.
With that, I'll turn it over to the Los Altos Hills liaison, Sarah Robustelli. Go ahead and take it away, Sarah.
Am I able to share my screen? It says the host is disabled. Or if that's not possible, you can run through the agenda packet. Either way, those are the slide deck. Oh, here we go. I got it. All right. Let's see here. All right. So thank you. Let's see. Hold on, let me. There we go. You're able to see the slide deck, just confirming. Okay, I got a thumbs up. All right, thank you, the Senior Commission. As a 2022 City Council priority of the town of Los Altos Hills, the town staff has engaged with a consultant to conduct a community facilities needs assessment. Staff is delivering this slide deck prepared by a consultant to each and every Los Altos Hills committee or commission. So a little look of why we're doing this. This slide deck's going to have quite a bit of background, and then towards the end, we're going to ask for the commission to provide a recommendation based on the Senior Commission's objectives. So a little bit about this process. As a part of the community engagement process, we are looking across all of our facilities and all kind of to gather all perspectives. We're assembling basically a full picture of a full list so then City Council can make a fact-based and informed decision. So how are we doing that? We're doing that. The town's been using a lot of multiple methods to capture many perspectives. There was a townwide mailer that you can see on the right of the slide deck. This was to encourage people to sign up to take town surveys. We encourage you, if you haven't signed up yet, to do so. And then we are also having the consultant to conduct interviews. We're soliciting input from committees and commissions, which is what we're doing here today. And then there's also 2 town hall meetings. One has taken place on May 31st, and the next one, which I'll go into the next slide, will be taking place July 20th. Which is open to the entire public. And then there's been updates and ongoing presentations at the city council level. So the town hall meetings, we also sent a town hall postcard to inviting everyone to participate in the community conversation. Indoor and outdoor space is what we are looking at. And you can scan this QR code. Again, this is in your agenda packet as well, to RSVP to attend the upcoming July 20th at 7 to 8 p.m. And then we did have some great feedback at our first meeting. But again, these are kind of all the different ways we're soliciting feedback for this process. So this slide deck just shows the process that we've been going through. The consultant MIG was approved in March at a city council meeting. May and June are the primary outreach times, which is what we're focusing on right now. And then July through September will be community outreach results delivering at a city council meeting. And that's when the council will move forward with some decisions. So what they're really looking for, we're seeking basically a clear description of the needs and that are expressed by the community. And this is again for city council to make an informed decision moving forward. So here, this next slide is what we're asking for today. So with the senior commission lens, we're asking for, now that you kind of have the background of this project, and we're looking for a formal input on each of these questions. And if again, not individual needs, which there's an opportunity for that after this slide, but really focusing on the lens of the senior commission specifically. So what needs do you see in the community for more or less or different indoor space? This same goes for what needs do you see in the community for more or less or different outdoor space? And then do you have any suggestions or concerns to inform or explore in these areas? So this is kind of the end of the presentation, other than this next slide, which again is for individual input. So if you have personal input that you'd like to deliver that may not be in alignment specifically with the commission as a whole, this is an opportunity. We invite Los Altos and Los Altos Hills members to take this individual input. But today, these are the questions that we're providing and hoping to get some consensus on today. Do you have any questions, or I turn it over to the commission?
I have a question. When you say interviews, whom did you interview?
There are a list of about, I believe, 18 people that there's an ad hoc commission or an ad hoc council commission made up of 2 council members and with staff, as well as those 2 council members. There were a select stakeholder list that we felt needed to that we've either already heard from and wanted to get a kind of a deeper dive on. And though of that list, those were interviewed individually by the consultant.
How many of them were over the age of 65?
I don't have their ages,
Um,
but
it would be
I would say
good from the position of the senior commission to know that that group was represented.
I can say there was definitely some that were over the age of 65. Any other questions? Or I'd like to also focus on, you know, if you have any clarifying questions, or just, you know, think back also to pre-COVID or what it looks like moving forward, your needs. Some of the, I know you guys have been involved in definitely some planning of events that occur in indoor spaces, outdoors. Those are the type of things other committees and commissions that I've given this presentation to have been thinking on, like, okay, typically we conduct X, Y, and Z. That takes place currently. Are your needs being fulfilled in those spaces? Or are you looking for something different? Or, and it's, you know, this is just open-ended, so.
Is it time to get the commission as commissioners' input?
Yes, please.
The concern is there are a lot of people, elders, who are not really connected electronically. And so their input may not have been heard. In terms of outdoor spaces, access to getting services. A lot of people live in the hills, and there are a lot of people who might be isolated. There's a significant number of people who are alone, widows, widowers, some people with health needs. And so I don't know if this dovetails directly with your concept of indoor and outdoor spaces, but certainly this will be high on the list for age-friendly cities evaluation.
Bill, are you aware of any unmet space needs at this time?
The space is on for Parks and Rec or city activities.
Any of it?
I don't know if we need more pickleball courts. That seems to be an area of contention. I don't know about indoor spaces, no.
Is that the consensus of the commission?
I guess I guess I'm looking at this and I'm saying, what's my basis for information? I really don't know enough about what indoor spaces or outdoor spaces are currently available. So it's hard for me to respond. I don't, I've been up in the hills a number of times, but I have never really gone with that eye of what could be improved or what more is needed. So I don't think I could respond to these at the moment without getting more information.
I think also because this is a joint commission and this is the view of the committee and commissions, I would consider what all senior resources, in both communities, because this is serving both communities, maybe to consider, is there a need maybe not being met, maybe from Los Altos, maybe if you're more familiar with Los Altos, is there something that you would hope maybe the Hills then would have? I think that might be a nice way to approach it. If there are certain things, right, both of communities work closely together. So if there's a need that Los Altos Hills could meet that maybe isn't being met by Los Altos, that's kind of, I believe, what some of the commissioners were saying, but I'm not trying to put anybody's words in their mouths. I'm just trying to help kind of work the process along here. I just heard kind of, some isolation. Is there a need for indoor space for gatherings then, or a way to get people? I guess I'm trying to, based on these three questions that we have here, what the senior commission is doing, how are we meeting these needs here?
Sarah, can I
Of
interject
course.
here? So because I do work, or I do volunteer over at Grant Park, and we are open there 2 days a week, and we are getting more participants, but not nearly enough to say we need more space. Maybe more activities would be nice, and what they would be very open to suggestion. So at this time, I think we have space, we just need activities.
I'll second that. As far as I know, there are no unmet needs with outstanding space requirements.
Right.
Well, the way that we would be getting for age-friendly cities is our focus groups that are assembled about the demographics. And from your description, I don't know that several demographics have been represented. There's people who, as I said, are not digitally connected. There are people who are isolated, who may have viewing points that are not from the people who continue to drive cars. So
I think
the way of gathering information, I think, needs to be examined in terms of its representation of all of the stakeholders, which would be all the citizens in Los Altos Hills.
which we did that by leveling the playing field by sending emails, or not emails, direct mails to each resident. And specifically on the town hall meeting, it states if you have any accessible needs that need to be met, please reach out to us directly. So there was that, which would level the playing field if, as you're stating, connectivity is an issue, or technology. So that we were very inclusive with that process there.
Okay.
And this is Jamie, having actually done a similar kind of process with the library. I just wanted to maybe share this little bit of tidbit of information. Usually, at least when going through the process to kind of figure out needs, it's kind of hard, as as Commissioner O'Reilly and many of the other commissioners have shared. We kind of are doing programs in spaces of what we currently have, but it's kind of hard to imagine or go in the future of like maybe what a future trend might be, or what new activities could be had if we had a different type of space. So I wanted to flip the question a little bit to maybe to help provide the Hills with other thoughts and ideas, but I know what we have now, but is there, if in a perfect world, is there something that the commission sees might be of benefit to with the kind of the adult 50 plus or senior lens that might be good to have that we don't currently have? Just wanted to pose that question because we did something similar with the library when I was working with the library commission, and it's very easy to kind of get set in, what we currently are doing and how do we shift to maybe what we could potentially do if we had different types of spaces. So I just wanted to maybe put that out there to see if it triggered any other thoughts that might be interesting to have, that might be good for our senior population. Because I think that's kind of what they're looking for. They want to make informed decisions on what might make sense in the future, given maybe new feedback that they get from the commissions and the community.
Thank you, Jamie.
One of the things, because of the state law demanding new housing units being developed, that is going to change markedly outdoor spaces. And that is going to be in the future. I think it has to be done by 2030. So that should be one of the far sighting problems to be considered, because that's going to mean more traffic. That's going to mean more people who are pedestrians. So the indoor spaces may be building meeting rooms for the new population density.
Is there any other discussion?
Great. Hey, I see all council members are present. So City Clerk, we're ready to get started whenever you are.
Okay, the recording's going.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. I will call the Los Altos City Council regular.
Sounds like we've got a conflict in communications going on.
No, I know. Is anyone else hearing?
At 7 p.m. City Clerk.
I'm hearing it, but I'm not sure where it's coming from because I don't even have.
Councilmember Lee.
Oh, is it
Here.
on my computer? Maybe?
Councilmember Meadows.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me.
Councilmember Weinberg.
Did it go
Okay.
off?
Yes, it did. That
Thank
was.
you.
I don't know
was
if it was.
a little bit of a surprise, but but it sounds like we got that figured out.
Back to the discussion at hand.
Right,
Anyone else have any comments?
not at this time.
Cool. All right, Sarah, thank you very much.
Oh, sorry. I was hoping for actually a formal, if there's consensus here. It sounds like there was just informal feedback. Are you open to making a motion in your minutes?
What would that motion sound like? Because it doesn't sound like we've got anything concrete to report.
My sense of the consensus is that we agree that there are no unmet needs at this point, but we may get more as time progresses and we have more information.
Good one, Vice Chair.
I don't know if you also want to add what Bill just mentioned, about the population density growing.
Population density, our focus groups, we may get more information as we progress. Absolutely. But at this time, I don't think we know of any unmet needs.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much. That's very helpful.
Thank you. All right. Next up on our agenda, you're supposed to consider the question of returning to
All
in-person
right,
meetings.
so just to provide a little bit of context, City Council is currently looking at, and their tentative timeline at the moment is to look at doing some sort of hybrid model. And that would be once they return from their summer break, which would be roughly in the August timeframe. Now, what they did say is that they, to give, you know,
And I invited residents.
Jamie, I'm
to
getting
share some
competing
of the
in
ways they're conserving energy
audio.
and or water. And I'd also given
It sounds
10
like from the city
suggestions.
council.
So I'll quickly share 3. One resident said, you know,
let's
they
see if we can
replaced
figure
all the
that out
sprinkler
again.
heads for their lawns with the low plane sprinkler head, and apparently that
That I
prevents
can
water.
think of. Does anyone else have
It's more targeted.
a window open where they were?
Another resident said they're reusing water used to wash their fruits and vegetables, so they're catching that water, and then they're using.
Okay, Bill, I think it might be.
That feature. And then the last one I will share is another resident
I think it
switched
is
out
on your
their light
computer,
bulbs
Bill.
for energy efficient
Yes.
and energy saving light bulbs. So I told them I would share them at the council meeting. Thanks to everybody who
Should I reboot?
commented on the
Should I
comment.
just reboot?
And so with that, Vice
Help.
Chair,
So I just muted everyone, so if you could unmute yourself before you talk, we'll see how that works.
I think Bill is going to try and rejoin. So we will hopefully get him relatively soon. But what I was sharing is the city council basically said that they called themselves the guinea pigs. We've been at virtual meetings for over 2 years now. And so they want to give staff and the commissions an opportunity to kind of see what that might look like. But I think they wanted to get an understanding of what the commissions are looking to do. But what they did say is that they would start off and try and figure out what that hybrid model looks like first. And they're still trying to work out, you know, kind of when that timing is and how that would work. But they are looking and anticipating after kind of the summer break. So with that in mind, they did want to say that, and feedback that they heard from the public initially was that the community recognized that the virtual option provided an opportunity for additional community members to provide feedback. So I think it is with the intent that that element will still be an opportunity going forward. But I do think they want to better understand where the commission is on, you know, virtual versus coming back in person. And I know when the senior commission had their joint meeting with city council, there was that brief discussion that many of you shared that you were excited to maybe, you know, come back in person. And I know the world has continued to go, and I know we're actually seeing some not nice spikes at the moment here in Santa Clara County. But you know, the world will forever be changing. So with all of those parameters and elements in mind, just wanted to provide that context for this discussion as the commission provides their feedback individually on how you feel, and then maybe as a whole commission where you might fall on future maybe in-person meetings. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Vice Chair Lee, and we can have that discussion with the commission as a whole.
Floor is open. Does anyone have a comment? Chris.
There it goes. So I like the hybrid suggestion, because I think it's, as much as I really like to be in person, there might be just sometimes with time is a crunch. and you really would like to be there at the meeting, but you can't be there physically. So that's my input.
Medically, I'm sorry. Vice Chair
Dr. Bill,
Swan,
please.
I think the Ms. Swan had her hand up first.
Okay.
Okay,
Ms. Swan.
I just was asking if Los Altos is set up to do the hybrid meetings. I know in our town, we have the council chambers and a conference room set up so that if people want to meet in person, they can, and they have it with cameras and everything, so anybody else can be on Zoom at the same time. So I don't know if you have that option, but that's really a good way to do it.
Medically, the Omicron continues to mutate because the virus is based upon its own survival. Its infectivity seems to be constantly increasing. There are this onslaught of new BA 743 QRT, whatever, coming, 4 and 5, actually, BA 4 and 5. So I think that it is prudent to at least maintain the option. I still mask when I go out.
Mhm.
I'm not outdoors, but indoors.
And as seniors, we are particularly susceptible. So I certainly am very vigilant still about taking any precaution possible. Commissioner O'Reilly, do you have a comment? You're on mute. You're on mute still.
I've always liked the face-to-face meetings. I mean, that's the best communication you can possibly get. But in light of all of the existing and continuing concerns we have about the transmissionability of these variants, I think the hybrid model is good for people that, for various reasons, do not wish to take the risk any further. So I'd like to explore the in-person meeting process or possibility, but knowing that we can't return to that full time at the moment.
If we were to return to in person, it would need to be outdoors.
Mhm.
So it sounds to me like we have unanimous support for continuing in hybrid mode.
Now, all of this feedback is very helpful. I will share this with our city clerk so that could be included in the consideration process. And again, the commissions will definitely be a little bit behind. City council is going to have that experience first, and then we will definitely see where we go from there, with the intent is even the senior commissioners have highlighted here, being cognizant of what is going on with the pandemic is going to be very important as they kind of take these next steps as well. I do see a hand raised at the moment. There isn't a name associated with it, but it's an iPhone 13 Pro.
Jamie, it's me. It's Lynette.
Oh, hi.
Thank you. So I did want to make a point in making the commission aware that when they state they're interested in a hybrid model, that the majority of the commission would have to be present. So we would need quorum to be present. And then if others are not able to attend, and of course, like you said, the council would be the models as to how we would proceed. So just understand what a hybrid is versus remaining virtual versus going back in person. So just so they get a clear understanding what would be expected of a hybrid model.
You're saying that to have a quorum, we would need to be physically present with the quorum. We would need 4 of the senior commissioners present physically.
Yes, so that's why when you're stating you would like a hybrid model, I wanted to make sure you understood what a hybrid model meant.
Thank you. That was not clear at all.
So that's why I wanted to make sure you understood. So that way, if you should say the option of a virtual, or, you could explore a hybrid model, then that's what you would be stating it would mean.
How would it be different if there were some people present online and some people present in the same room? How would that decrease the quorum?
I think Council Member Fligor stated that if we were to do a hybrid, the majority would have to be present. So we will still be discussing it. And that's why if you're not going to have a majority present, then, share your thoughts on that. That's all I'm asking for.
Ms. Swan has her hand raised.
Yes, that's not my understanding from our city attorney. And maybe we should get a legal opinion, because there is an emergency declaration by the governor that's good until 2024 that overrode some of these requirements. And so I would check and make sure, because we are doing hybrid meetings without having a quorum in the council. So maybe we can get someone to have talk to an attorney. Maybe Steve Mattis, our attorney, can talk, or I'm sure Los Altos has their own city attorney that could address this specifically, because we're getting different information.
Well, yeah, I guess that's what Councilmember Fligor wanted when she talked about the hybrid model. So yes, every council would be discussing it differently and taking on a different policy as to what would constitute a hybrid for them.
Okay, so this is just a Los Altos policy, not a state of California ruling or law.
Correct. And
Okay.
as of now, Los Altos is going to follow the Santa Clara County recommendations, and that would be overriding.
So I will do a little bit of follow-up because they're and obviously to part of and what I might do for the commissioner's benefit, there was a staff report that was forwarded to council where they highlighted what some of the other cities were doing because the city of Los Altos was also looking at, what other entities were doing as we were starting this discussion on what our next steps would be. So it sounds like there are some outstanding questions. I will get some additional information and share that with the commission so that everyone can make, and if that changes, you can always forward any other additional questions or concerns directly to myself and our staff support with Candace Abena. So I will do my due diligence and get some additional information and share that. But I think I do have an understanding that it sounds like you would like to continue some sort of virtual option, especially as the at least where we are currently with the pandemic. But if things improve, it sounds like there would be a small interest to possibly come back in person so long as there are safety measures put in place.
Fair enough. Any more
Or,
comments?
I'm sorry, Jamie, if their understanding is, and I'd like to get some understanding if they wanted a hybrid model and they said, as long as they made quorum as to the composition would be a quorum with virtual as well as those present doesn't have to be the quorum. They should state that. They should let us know what, what they would like.
Sure. No, absolutely. So it sounds, and to your point, Councilmember Liang, Maybe that would be good to get a sense of if the commission would prefer to have that option mostly be virtual, where people have the ability to join virtually without having the quorum in person. That could also be part of it. Vice Chair Lee, I'll turn it back over to you.
So I would definitely be in favor of a virtual quorum, but otherwise we stay virtual.
Yeah, I go with that.
Commissioner Riley, do you agree with that? You're again on mute.
Agreed.
That sounds
Great.
unanimous.
Thank you very much, commissioners.
All right. If there's nothing else, then next up is the work plan.
Absolutely. So the commission had an absolutely wonderful conversation, joint meeting with the Los Altos City Council back at the beginning of May. And so we do what we are anticipating wanting for the discussion here is the commission started assigning some subcommittee members to various areas. So it might be good to continue that discussion. And this is a living document. So as things adjust and change, we can absolutely make those adjustments, but I think we should continue. And then also, if the commission overall is happy with the structure of the work plan, it would be good to get a formal motion of acceptance from the commission that this is the anticipated structure and work plan that you would like to see. And Candace is bringing up the, we can definitely bring that up. So if you wanted to dive a little bit deeper, but those are the two things that I think would be helpful. And I am happy to share once we get into commissioner information, although our newest commissioner, Commissioner Dixit, although she is not present, she did share just a few thoughts that I am happy to share on her behalf once we get into the discussion portion. So I will turn it back over to Vice Chair Lee.
Thank you. So would anyone like to volunteer to be on one of the various subcommittees at this time?
So Vice Chair Lee?
Yes.
All right, so I did, Commissioner Basigi and I were in communication, but he's got a new grandchild and he's got house guests. So we put our discussion off on those items that we've been signed up for to a later date. So I'd like to tell you that we will come back at you at a later date.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
It was my understanding that the social participation was covered by one of the other projects, and that would be done by that other project group.
Do you recall which group was doing
If
that?
we can scroll down, I think we could find it.
Oh, I see it under respect and social inclusion. The third from the end. Well, no, just the first line is there.
Is that on page 2?
Yes, page 2.
Yeah, I think that Commissioner Cohen was going to do that with me.
Okay. Under respect and social inclusion?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So perhaps we could put her down there with a question mark.
Works for me.
Could we please add her?
Yep, we will go ahead and do so. This is
Okay.
a PDF document, so we will definitely add it and send it to the commission to make sure it fully encapsulates what is discussed.
Okay. And it sounded like we were going to have both of those, that subcommittee also cover the other uncovered section above.
That was item 2,
Yep, social participation.
so that you can fill in Buckholz and Cohen.
That sounds great.
A question, would it be even more efficient to just include the wording in that in the respect and social inclusion project, rather than have it separate? They seem very similar.
I think the projects are listed by the 8 on the age-friendly.
Oh, those are categories. Oh, I see. Okay.
So I believe we had another one category below civic participation that was left uncovered. Yeah, civic participation in employment. And I'll volunteer to go ahead and help on that.
Thank you so much.
Any other changes we would like to make at this time?
Yes. Well, additions. I was looking at on housing, which I've spent a little time looking at the housing element, part of the city council areas, and it's rather huge. And I was looking to see if I could find someone else to work with me on housing. We discussed that a little bit, and I was going to ask Commissioner Busigi if he were interested, but he's not present today.
It looks like he's already down for a couple of subcommittees.
He's in transportation with me.
Can you hear me now?
Can
you guys hear me?
The man himself.
There he is.
Thank you. I tried multiple times and didn't work. I finally, when I heard back from Candace that she wanted me to call in instead of logging in, I rebooted my system, and lo and behold, after the rebooting was done, it came alive. So that was the problem, and I'm sorry about that. So I guess we are all a little bit of babes in the wood when it comes to tricks with the computers. So yeah, I am on 2 of the committees. Chris, Commissioner Nagaro was kind enough to reach out to me to wanting to get together or have a conversation on the phone. I had myriad things happening last 4 weeks, including a complicated birth for my daughter and a child that was kind of in a bit of a risk and so forth. And we just didn't have the wherewithal to do anything. But I'm now back in the saddle, so to speak, and I can get back on and do something. And I like to do it in a maybe in a week following, if I may, or Friday of this week, largely because I have also volunteered myself for another committee, which is very important to the Hills. And they're going to make a decision on the 16th. And if that happens, my bandwidth probably will be chewed up a little bit. So I would very much like to, if possible, maybe on Friday or Monday of next week, we can get this thing wrapped up with Commissioner Nagaro. And I think beyond that, whatever else you want me to do, let's just talk about it.
Commissioner Basici, I believe the question to you is whether you feel you have the bandwidth to participate on the housing subcommittee.
The problem with the housing subcommittee, if I may be frank, is that I really feel it's more important to the community of Los Altos to have a Los Altos resident commissioner participate, because the housing situation in here and than Los Altos. But that being said, I have no problem doing it.
Given the limited people available, that sounds like a volunteer to me.
Yeah, I think I'll do that, largely because transportation, to be quite honest with you, I don't know where the low-hanging fruits are on that. That remains to be discussed with Commissioner Nagaro, and we can probably formulate whatever the finding we can come up with. But that being said, I'm a little bit skeptical about transportation being something that, just going to stare us in the face. So, yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. Are there any other changes we would like to make?
And Vice Chair Lee, I will just share the information that our newest commissioner, Commissioner Dixit, shared. The two thoughts that she had sent in since she was unable to be here today. And these were just suggestions for the commission's consideration. To have a subcommittee that sole purpose would be to look at once Age Friendly gets going, so that they can really examine and tabulate some of the data that is received. And then she also suggested a subcommittee that we're kind of talking about more specific projects in each of the domains, but she was suggesting kind of an overarching subcommittee that might be able to help coordinate on the various pieces that were coming in. So those were just two suggestions that she had. The overarching, that might be, my suggestion might be that staff could help with that, assist with that process, since myself and Candace are already kind of just coordinating the document in the work plan itself. But the other one, just wanted to share her thoughts, which she had sent earlier.
Thank you. Excellent thoughts. So I believe up at the top of the work plan, we already had a subcommittee set aside for coordination. Right there.
Is that action plan?
That would be the Bill and Tony show.
Yeah, we can show up.
We will obviously pitch in wherever needed. So I think that's already covered. So very good. Any other changes or comments on the work plan? All right, that sounds like a wrap.
So Vice Chair Lee, if we could get a motion and a second to accept the work plan and subcommittees as discussed today, that would be fabulous.
To be formal, I think we need to hear a motion. Would someone care to make a motion?
I so move.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. Done. Next.
Thank you. All right. I think we now go in, we did not currently have any informational items, but we can go ahead and move on now, I think, to the quite robust section, which has any report outs from commissioners and subcommittees. And then obviously staff reports. And then we will bring up the end of the meeting with future agenda topics. So I will turn it back over to you.
Very good. Do we have any reports from subcommittees? Deafening silence. Okay. Then I think we're ready to go to oral reports.
All right, I will go ahead and kick us off. And then, so I will be doing that, followed by Cherry Anderson, our adult 50 plus coordinator. And then from there, I will turn it over to Los Altos Hills with Sarah Robustelli. So a few things that we have. First, a question to the commission, because our July meeting, the first Monday is actually a holiday because July 4th falls on a Monday. So I wanted to find out consensus from the commission if they would like to reschedule, which I will do, Candace and I will take care of that offline, or we can postpone till August. Wanted to find out what the preference of the commission would be for that question.
So I'll go and suggest that we're making good progress, so it would be better to reschedule rather than postpone. And I'll propose July 11th.
Seconded.
I have no objection.
No objection.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. Continuing on, the next one is this, we had made that switch to Zoom, and we actually just got additional information that we are now going to be getting the Zoom webinar format. So very similar to kind of Ring Central, we'll be making that adjustment. So hopefully Zoom made it a bit easier for everyone to connect, but we will have a slight adjustment for our July meeting where we will be doing our Zoom webinar. So we will get additional information, and both myself and Candace will be available if anyone wants to, has questions or needs any assistance as we make that transition as well. Age friendly. So I wanted to have some better news, but unfortunately we were not awarded the grant through the Community Foundation. But I will say that they let us know it was extremely competitive. And unfortunately, there was another, our lunch program, which we applied for through the city as well too. There was just so much need. And so unfortunately, we were not awarded at this time, but I wanted to remind the commission that we do have the request, obviously budget-wise through the city. So that anticipated timeline for the budget is at the end of June. So I will hopefully have additional information once we meet in July. So a to be continued conversation, but just as well, once we get the funding squared away, we will then be able to move forward with the contract with Cafe, followed by some of the other asks. I know initially we were possibly looking at a specific task force to help with the action plan too. So all of that will follow once we get the funding squared away first. In addition, Grant Park, there were a few questions at the April meeting. or May meeting, I actually reported that Manny Hernandez, our maintenance services director, was getting quotes on electrical work and the HVAC. He is still currently working on getting that information. So at this time, I do not have any additional news to report, but I will keep apprised of that information and will share as it becomes available. And then continuing, we are just about ready to embark on our summer season. I can't believe I'm saying that, but we are well into June, although the beginning of June, but it will really just start steamrolling. I know for our staff, they're getting ready for summer camps. We're really excited to bring back our really popular Redwood Grove summer camp and our CIT program. That was actually, Candace has been a big part of the coordination of that particular program. So we're really excited to bring that back, along with many other activities throughout the summer. So registration is open and available. You can come in person to our community center to register, or simply through online via Civic Rec. So just really excited to start to offer some of those programs that we have been on hiatus for a little while. And then my final update before I turn it over to Cherry, our adult 50+ coordinator. In July, and those that may have followed the Parks and Rec Commission in June, but our current director, Donna Legge, she did announce her retirement. And so she will be retiring later this fall in roughly the September timeframe. And so the city is actually going to be reorganizing, and Manny Hernandez, who was the Recreation and Community Services Director before he went over to maintenance, they're actually going to restructure, and he will become the Parks and Recreation Director. So he will be introduced at the July meeting, but I just wanted to give the Senior Commission a heads up that that will be anticipated for our July meeting. But you will still have myself and Candace as your main support staff here with the Senior Commission, and we will be doing a whole rollout with additional information to the community, and obviously all the other pieces that go along with it to inform everyone of some of these changes. So open to any questions on what I've covered, and then if there are none, I will turn it over to Cherry, but I will pause to see if there are any questions at this time. Perfect. I will go ahead and turn it over to Cherry.
Thank you, Jamie. Good afternoon, Council, Senior Commissioners. How are you today? I hope all is well. Great. I'm here to announce that we are having an upcoming event this Thursday. It's entitled the Right to Our Veterans Workshop. And this is in collaboration with the Daughters of the American Revolution Los Altos chapter. We're going to be writing and creating cards and letters to send to our armed forces and our veterans. And we're doing it on early June so that by July 4th, which is the actual holiday, they will have received them. The event is going to be from 10 a.m. to 12 noon over in the Cedar and Sycamore area and on our adult 50+ patio. So we're looking forward to that. It's a free event. We're going to be serving a light lunch. We're asking folks to call us and register so that we'll know just how many people are going to show up. So you're welcome to come if you'd like. We're also going to be having pickleball down at Grant Park on June 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2. It's going to be a free activity. We do this down at Grant when the Egan Gym is closed. So the Egan Gym is closed the week of June 20th. June 20th through June 24th. And so we're going to be sharing or offering pickleball so that we won't lose the flow, because it has been growing and it is a really nice program if you'd like to come out and enjoy us there. We're also going to be having a lunch and Santa Cruz Catamaran trip. And that's going to be Wednesday, June 22nd, busy day. And that's where we're going to be having lunch at Lulu's in Los Altos and then be taken up to Santa Cruz to get on a wonderful catamaran yacht and get out and see the ocean for a little while in the late afternoon, early evening. And that's open to all. And it is a fee, but give us a call and we'll get you all set up for that. And that's pretty much what we have for June. In July, we're going to have a wonderful speaker by the name of Scott Cady, who's coming July 12th. He's an enrichment speaker, but he's going to talk about the Amityville horror and some of the clues that may be set up for that. So he's going to be talking about that live at the center. And that event starts at 11 a.m. So if you are so inclined, it's a free activity, come on out and enjoy. And that our movies for June and July. Let me just get that going for you. For June 16th, we're going to have the book club, and that's the comedy, drama, romance. And it's about a group of book club readers, avid readers who get a hold of a piece of information that takes them on a journey. And it's a fun journey. So that'll be we have it every third Thursday, and that starts at 12:30. And so if you're interested, come on over to the Cedar Room. We'll be there with a large screen so that you can watch that movie. And then in July, we're going to offer The Monuments Men. It's a drama about the World War II war and the history about that. And so with that, those are our events so far. As we continue, we're looking at adding some more things for summer, but that's what we have so far. So thank you very much. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will also share before I turn it over to Sarah, if any of the senior commissions, I just wanted commissioners had suggestions, ideas, or thoughts. Obviously, myself, Candace, and Cherry are always available to take recommendations or suggestions. But if any of the commissioners had ideas or suggestions they wanted to share, please feel free to use this time as well. If there's any up and coming games or activities that you would love to see in the program, we would love to hear that information as well. So I will pause and Commissioner Basigi.
Yeah, I have a curiosity question, for lack of better words. How is the attendance at the community center, the senior attendance, vis-a-vis, for example, the previous attendances that we had at the former community center? Has it gone up because of the fact that we have a new place and new venue and better rooms and better facilities and so forth? Just a general question, out of pure curiosity.
No worries. Well, it's been a little slow, but it's starting to pick up. I believe that the attendance indoors was, of course, questionable because of COVID. But since the Santa Clara County has modified some of the practices, we do have more people showing up.
Thank you. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think people are still in the grip of the fear of COVID and so forth. And I think we're going to have a little bit of that ramp up, shall we say, to contend with going forward. Thank you.
My pleasure.
If there's no more questions, I can take on the staff reports from the town of Los Altos Hills. In terms of attendance, Jim, speaking to that, the town did hold our first town picnic since 2019, and attendance was consistent with pre-COVID levels. I have not received the final ticket count, but in best estimates, it was around 2,000 people. So I think it was very consistent with what we've had in the past. And then just dovetailing into our upcoming community events that are open to all. We're going back to our pre-COVID 4th of July parade, which is on foot. In the past, we've been doing a caravan. But again, since it is all outdoors and we're following the guidance based on the county, we will transition back. Again, we meet at town of Los Altos Hills in town hall, and then on foot there's a road closure. You go down to Gardner Bullis, and there we will have band, music, refreshments. It is a very quaint, small town, fun community event, and we invite Los Altos and Los Altos Hills to participate. So that starts at 9:30, gathering at Town Hall. The parade will promptly start at 10 and usually wraps up around 11:30. So short and sweet. And then, my report's going to be quite short. The only other program that I really want to mention is that our senior walks are back. This was something, the town was again doing pre-COVID. Vice Mayor Swan reminded us that, hey, why don't we start doing this again? And we've been holding, this past month, we held our first. And so mark your calendars for June 30th. It's the last Thursday of every month, starting at 9 o'clock. We're meeting at Town Hall, and the walk will be roughly 2 miles. It's at a slow but steady pace based on the participants. But we really encourage, it's free program and all are welcome. That concludes my report, and happy to answer any questions if there are any.
I just want to take the time, Sarah, to really appreciate what you did with the picnic, you and your team. It was absolutely magnificent. It was well attended, and people were having just really incredible time. And I'm sorry I missed the prior years. This was really a lot of fun. So
thank you. Thank you for attending.
I was just going to say, Sarah, that sort of activity, I think, will kickstart other things that are going on. And I think it takes longer for people to come back into their former activity than it did when it just all disappeared. So that's a great start. Well done.
Chiming on that particular comment, Sarah, have we publicized this particular event in Los Altos as much as we have done in the past? In other words, with the posters and emails and whatever else that we can make sure that the seniors in Los Altos really are aware of these events are coming up.
Are you speaking to the 4th of July parade as well as the senior walks? I did.
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of the publications for the parade, we have not started yet. We had to get through the picnic, make sure that went off. And obviously we were really thrilled with the participation there. So we hope to see strong participation in these upcoming events as well. So I think you will see, items in the town crier coming forward. In terms of the senior commission or the senior walks, I know one of your volunteers, Adela DeCanio, did bring the monthly senior walk flyers. I believe they should be at the senior center in Los Altos. So I have worked with her on that, and we've been following up with all past participants from the senior walks, and we've already sent them information. Hey, they're back. So Some of them, I believe, were out of town, but we had, I know Vice Mayor Swan was also at the last one. And, you know, we had a handful of new people and returning. So I'm hoping as months go on, we'll continue to see that support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Do we have anything else from staff?
I think that is it.
Very good. Then the next thing on the agenda item is to discuss future agenda items. Does anyone have anything they'd like to talk about next time? All right.
Jamie, when do you think we would have information of the city's response to age-friendly fund request?
No, absolutely. So at this time, anticipated approval of the budget is for the second meeting in June, which I believe is June 28th, if I'm not mistaken, or thereabouts. Yes, it is the 28th. So it should be in time for when we reschedule the July Senior Commission.
Like to put that on the agenda.
Good idea.
And could you do some research in case we need to find still another source of contributions?
Absolutely.
Very good.
Any other ideas or topics?
All right. I'm not hearing anything. So next up is adjournment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? You're still on mute.
So Chair Lee, at this time, you don't need a motion to adjourn the meeting. You can just go ahead and adjourn it.
Oh, by Robert's Rules of Order, we have to be very, very formal here and very particular.
I move we adjourn even if we don't need to move it.
And I second it, even if we don't need to.
Let's move it out.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony.